Welcome to Self-Determination Module 4. This is our last module for self-determination. Today we are going to be talking about identifying strengths and weaknesses, positive self-talk, self-esteem, and circle of support. So why do we need to know what our strengths and weaknesses are? A lot of times we're really good at admitting our strengths, but admitting our weaknesses sometimes is really difficult. And what we need to understand is that is not a weakness. We all have strengths, but we also have areas of weakness, and that's okay. That's where we need to identify to help us make and set goals, set our priorities, making those informed decisions, and again, requesting accommodations. If there is something I don't know how to do and I'm not as strong in that area, I need to be able to self-advocate for it. And you can see as we went through all of these modules, how all of those components from module 1 are intertwined and they all work together to create self-determination. That's why I said self-determination is such an umbrella because there's so many components underneath. But with all those components, we all have to work together to make sure that we are functioning independent adults and that we get our students the skill sets they need to be adults and they are able to function independently. So how do we do all this? Well, we need to make sure that our students understand their disability. What is their disability? What does that mean that I have autism? What does it mean to have an intellectual disability? What does it mean to have a speech impairment? Again, I need to understand what my disability is. So now I can set a goal that's appropriate for myself. And I can do action planning. I can do steps to make those choices. I can look at, I need to have a certain schedule or routine or a checklist. I have to self-advocate and be able to self-monitor. Those are huge. I need to be able to self-monitor myself because when I leave school, nobody's going to monitor me. I am on my own and I need to be able to perform these skills so I can be an independent functioning adult. But you can see how understanding my strengths and weaknesses helps me achieve a goal, helps me action plan, make those choices. Do I need to have a checklist so I can self-advocate and self-monitor? You can see how, again, all of these things come together and work together. So, again, why do I need to know strengths and weaknesses? Because it's essential for the quality of life. I have strengths, but I also have some weaknesses, and I know what those weaknesses are, and I work on getting assistance because it's not easy to ask for help, and I completely understand that. But it's okay to ask for help. That is not in short a weakness. That's actually a strength to be able to self-advocate and ask for the assistance you need. So we need to make sure that our students have functional communication skills. Are they able to communicate? Are they using a certain method to communicate or a mode of communication? Are they using a PEC system? Are they using Proloquo, touch chat? Are they using a certain type of device, an iPad, a Dynavox? What things are they using and is it functional for them? Because we want them to express their needs and preferences. That's huge. They need to be able to tell me, what do you need? How can I help you? What do you prefer? And then we also reinforce them. Thank you for expressing and telling me what you need. I really appreciate you coming to me and talking to me about what preferences, what accommodations do you need to perform this job? Again, we've reinforced them for knowing what their strengths and weaknesses are. We've reinforced them for self-advocating. We've reinforced them for self-monitoring. We need to make sure we provide that reinforcement. Positive self-talk. According to the researchers and psychologists, in the process of talking to ourselves, whether they are good or bad comments, human beings have a tendency to absorb those inner dialogues and act on them. The inner thoughts will affect a person's outer self and what he or she believes he can do or not do. Positive self-talk is huge. And I know personally, I can talk myself down very quickly. I pick out faults of myself and I put myself down. And instead of saying, I can do this, it's I'm never going to reach this goal. I'm never going to do what I need to do. And it's always something negative, especially when there is a certain weakness that I know I have, which is difficult for me to accept and difficult for me to be able to share with other people. Think about some of your students. How many of your students do the same thing? I can't do this. This is too hard for me. You do it for me. I'm never going to be able to go to school. I'm never going to be able to get a job. We hear a lot of negative talk from our kiddos, and we really need to focus on how do I change that to a more positive self-talk. So what are some things we can do? Give the students positive words and statements. Maybe use a social story about themselves. Remind them of the things that they do really well and how they achieved certain goals. So we can say, you've achieved this. This was so difficult for you and you made it. So now let's focus on this goal. I know you can do it. Have them repeat it. I can do this. I am going to reach my goal. And we help the students monitor their self-talk. If we hear them saying something negative about themselves, how do we change that statement? How do we make it a more positive statement? Again, that's why it's so important when we help our students set a goal, we set goals that are manageable. We set action plan steps. We break them down into smaller, more manageable pieces so they start to build up behavioral momentum. I have this goal. Now I have to do 5 steps to get to this goal. And if I do step 1, I'm great. Now I got step 2. Woohoo, I'm doing it. Step 3, and I'm building up behavioral momentum. The more success I achieve, the more momentum I build, the more I'm going to reach that goal. But we want to make sure that we teach our students how to positive self-talk. Because self-talk and self-esteem work together. If I sit here and tell myself long enough that I'm not good and I'm not worthy and I'm never going to make it, my self-esteem is going to go downhill really fast. But if I can sit here and say, I can do this. I achieved my goal. I am going to get a job. I am going to go to school. My self-esteem, my self-confidence, I sit up taller. I'm looking at people. I have a smile on my face more. But self-esteem is a huge, major key to be successful in life. The development of a positive self-concept or healthy self-esteem is extremely important to the happiness and success of children and teenagers. It is difficult. Life is difficult. We all have faced different challenges. They come in a variety of ways. But we have to be positive to say, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to do what I need to do. I can achieve. I can be successful. Again, positive self-talk helps building my positive self-esteem, helping me to be successful as an adult. If I have low self-esteem, I'm going to avoid trying anything new. I'm going to be more introverted. So I'm going to feel that I am not wanted in any situation. I'm going to blame others constantly for my problems, for not reaching my goal. I'm going to feel very different from others. And I'm not going to be able to tolerate any normal level of frustration. I might put down my own talents. And I'm also easily influenced by negativity and negative situations. So again, if I have low self-esteem, I am going to continue to be on this downhill spiral, and I'm not going to reach my goal, and I'm not going to be able to be a functioning, independent adult. If I have positive self-esteem, I'm going to be very independent. I'm going to assume that responsibility. I'm going to be the take charge type of person. I can tolerate that frustration because I know I'm going to overcome. I know that I need to be flexible and I'm going to adapt and I'm going to move on. I'm going to attempt new tasks, and I'm going to attempt those challenges because I know I can do it. I'm going to handle different situations and different emotions. I'm going to assist with assistance to others. I want to make sure that I'm the one that's being successful. I am being positive. I can do. And again, if we use and model positive self-talk, our students are going to see that this makes me feel better. I want to be happy. I want to feel better. I want to feel independent, and I want to be able to achieve my goal. So you can see again how all of these things come together and intertwine, knowing what my strengths and weaknesses are, making sure that I'm using that positive self-talk to build up, to make sure I have positive self-esteem. Then we come to our circle of support, which is, again, another big step. When I'm trying to develop a positive self-image, I need to know what my level of support is. I don't want to feel that I'm being so isolated. I want to increase positive supports and meaningful goals in my life. So I need to teach students and families how to use a circle of support. There's a graphic organizer, and it starts off with a small circle, which is me. This provides me by myself. This is what is about me. Then I go out and now I have another circle. That could be my extended family, my close family. And the circles branch out more and more as the supports grow. And you'll see examples within the next couple of slides. But we need to make sure we provide that guided practice. Remember, the I do, we do, you do. So I model my circle of support, and then I provide guided practice to help students recognize, okay, what are some of your levels of support, to the point where they start developing their own circle of support. So here you can see an example. All right, this is Nick's circle of support. So we have Nick. He's in circle 1. Circle 2 is his mom and dad and his 2 brothers. As we start to venture out, you can see where he has friends. And then he has in that last circle, the people that are paid to be in his life. This is his circle of support. This is, he knows too, boundaries. I am in the circle by myself, to where I have mom and dad and my brothers, to where, okay, how do I interact with my parents? I can give them hugs. I can give them kisses, and that's great. But then I have my friends. Maybe a hug, maybe a shake of hand. Depends on how close our friends are. But once we get out to that other level where we have people that are paid to be in our lives, then we have to, how do we interact with them? We shake their hand. We say hello, because we're not at that level of that type of relationship with them to give them hugs, to give them a kiss. We want to make sure that we also teach boundaries when we're using the circle of support. As we go through life, our circle of support continues to grow, and it will get bigger, depending on the people that come in and out of our lives. So you can see on this circle of support that we just have names. If we need to, we can apply pictures. If it helps our students understand who people are and to help make that connection. So we can always use names, and we can use pictures, or we could use a mix of name and pictures. It all depends on how we meet the students' needs. But the circle of support is very important for our kiddos. They need to understand who our support level is. We, as independent adults, know who our supports are. Our parents, our grandparents, aunts, uncles, our siblings. All right. Then we know who our close-knit of friends are. We have very close friends that maybe we see on a regular basis, to maybe friends that we don't see on a regular basis, to the people that are on that outer circle, our doctors, our teachers, maybe coworkers, employers. Those are our people that are in our lives for certain reasons. So again, we have to learn what our circle support is. And again, this helps teach for boundaries as well. So we have finished the 4th and final module of self-determination.